take nothing but photographs and leave nothing but footprints. Hello and welcome to the start of this afternoon's magical mystery tour with our host in the background over there, David Griffith. He's over there wandering off. We're at a place called Parys Mountain Copper Mine. Yeah. I knew I'd forget what it was called, but it's beautiful. It's just calling out for a little bit of light to bring all these different, a complete rainbow of colours out. I think there'll be some more detailed shots to be had from here, really, because I think it could look a bit messy if I try to get everything in, but focusing in on where the sun's bringing out the colours and sort of making magical tones and sort of quite alien. There's a board out there on the trail on the way in, and it says that they refer to it as like an alien part of the world, and apparently they've shot Doctor Who stuff here and sort of sci-fi things, because it does look like another planet, a complete different landscape. So I'm hopeful that with my long lens on, the start of the magical mystical tour of Anglesey from this first location should get off to a good start. Right, let's find some compositions. So the first shot I've gone for is with my wide angle lens, basically because it was on my camera as I got it out of my bag, and I wanted to, as I was getting my camera out, there was this beautiful sunlight just hitting the quarry and bringing out all the colours of everything. And then the cloud cover is rolling, and it looks like the cloud cover will be covering up most of the sun for a while. But I'm quite happy with the shot that I got. It might need brightening up slightly, but I wanted to see what a shot of the whole thing looked like leading up to that tower in the background. As I said before, it's a really surreal place to be. I can understand why they've used it for sort of TV and movie filming, because even though it's 200 yards off the main road, it's like a different world. So if that image is any good, I'll pop it up now, and then I'm going to head round that way. There looks like there's a bit of a disused building over there, and I think shooting into the quarry with my long lens will be better from that side. So I'll catch up with you in a minute. So I've just come away from the main quarry. I've got some detailed, intimate shots because I felt like going abstract sort of helped, because the conditions weren't great and I was kind of struggling to get a shot that I was happy with. I'll put some of them up in a minute if I haven't done already. But as I say, I've come away and there's this little iced over mini pool of water, patch of water, mini lake thing going on. It's like a pond. Some of it's frozen, some of it isn't frozen, and there's loads of rocks in it. And I'll show you the rock that I've just taken a picture of. If you see it over here, that one there. And I just the texture of the ice around it and the colour of the rock combined with a little bit of light coming from over in that way, it just created quite a moody, abstracty rock in the water, bit of ice shot. So I'm quite happy with that. Something a little bit different. I tried one a bit further over there, but it wasn't quite as good. I was a bit too close and the ice wasn't surrounding it quite as much, but I'm quite happy with that one. So I'm going to put that up in a minute. I think it'll be a square crop, and I think I'll probably keep it colour because I quite like the colour of the ice, especially the texture of the ice, but the colour of the rock. But I think it might look good in mono as well, so I might put both up for you to see in a minute. Right. The cloud is pretty much covering the sun behind me, and it's not really entering into the quarry anymore. So I'm happy with what I've got thus far. There's this little abandoned building area that I'm just going to have a quick explore of, and I'm going to head back round there up to that little monument tower piece up on the hill. But so far, the Magical Mystery Tour from DG is going quite well. So I think we're going to be heading back to the car now. I've just got one final image of that building, that tower behind me, with some like these industrial old steel pipe type things sticking out the ground in the foreground. I'm quite happy with it. It didn't look amazing, but hopefully it'll be a nice little end to here. I'm just going to meet up with David and Tim again, and then we'll be off to the next location, possibly for sunset. We're hoping to go to Church in the Sea for sunset, somewhere I've never been, and we could be on for quite a nice sunset tonight. So I'll bob that final shot up from here, and then I'll see you at the next location.
Hard to see from the moment we arrived. Cornelia, you are one.
Okay, so we've got to the Church in the Sea, as you can see it behind me. The tide is on the way back in after being out, so it's quite a slow moving tide though, so I'm not that worried. We're about an hour away from sunset. And since we've been here about 10 minutes, it is slowly creeping in, but it's nothing to worry about. It's not going to suddenly surround us with water. I think it will just creep in slowly over the next hour or so. I really like the church actually. If you can see it behind me, I'm not sure whether you'll see it on this camera, that it's whitewashed. You've probably seen loads of pictures of it, but it's always quite nice to come to these places and get your own, even though I don't think I'll get anything epic unless the sunset goes crazy, but I don't know, we might have something on for sunset. But I wanted to get a shot anyway. As you can see from where I am, I'm shooting towards it, and the sunshine is lighting up the whitewashed side of it, and that's kind of what I've got standing out on the shot. There's also an arch at the far side of it, and that's you can still see the sort of, it kind of silhouettes against the sky behind it. So I'm shooting with my long lens. I'm at about 110, 115 mil, f11, and an 80th of a second. The shot's okay. It's not fantastic. It's very much focused on the church, on the building itself. There's a little bit of dark foreground with all the rocks and stuff that it's sort of standing on, but the light is just bringing that church to life. So before I move my tripod and my camera somewhere else to get a different setup, a different composition, I'm going down the thought process that I normally do of inspirational pictures. Bit of text, nice photograph, looks good on your wall. So I've changed my composition slightly. I'm now at 70 mil, which is the furthest out I can get with this lens. I've put the rocks that the church is sat on right at the bottom of the frame, so everything is black at the bottom. The church then sits on top of that, and then we've got a beautiful sky in the background, which I can layer and give it to my graphic designer, who's my wife, and she can put some beautiful text on the top. I'm going to change my setting slightly because it's just, the sun's just crept behind the clouds, so it's darkened everything down a bit. But I want to keep some detail in the sky, but I also want to have the focus of the church. So I'm thinking probably a 60th of a second, and that looks pretty cool. Get some text, some life-changing quote on the left-hand side, or a bit of scripture or something that empowers. Yeah, I think that could be a good one. Okay, so my next shot is going to be a panoramic image, probably 4 or 5 shots stitched together. I've got my everything set up. I've got my camera level, got my tripod level, and there's some beautiful conditions going on out at sea. Some nice oranges, and the clouds are a bit moody. It should hopefully create a really nice stitched together image, hopefully. We'll see. One more over there. I'm using my nifty 50 and I'm hoping, just let me scroll through them. The church isn't quite as bright as I'd like it, but I think the conditions and the clouds behind it should help to create that moodiness and atmosphere. So if it's any good, I'll pop it up now. After taking that other shot, I've just been onto the island to get a nice little image from on there pre-sunset. I don't want to be on the island when everyone else is taking sunset shots, so I managed to get all this pre-sunset glow, everything that's kicking off in the clouds. Wide angle lens on the front corner, so I've got the church sort of leading you into the clouds and the sunshine in the background. I'm going to get one more shot lined up, ready, because we are about, how long are we off? 10-15 minutes away from sunset. So hopefully, if all that kicks off, I'm going to get a nice low angle shot through some rocks and some water up to the church. But I'll put that other shot up for you now, and then I'll come back to you once I've set up this shot for a hopeful sunset. Okay, as I said, I've gone really quite low, and I've got like a rocky canyon valley filled with water leading you up to the church, and I'm hoping that a long exposure, I've got my 10 stop on, I'm hoping that I'll be able to capture a bit of movement and moodiness in the sky. I'm hoping it kicks off a little bit. We're still a few minutes away from sunset, so there's plenty of time, and it's one of those things where you just have to sit and wait and enjoy, because we were talking before that it's so easy to just be photography, and some of the fun about being out is the conversations and the just sitting back and listening. Just listen. It's peaceful, it's tranquil, it's relaxing, and the surroundings, the beautiful surroundings. I've not been here before, and I probably won't come again for a long time, but it's a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful place to enjoy, and sometimes patience is a virtue, isn't it? So I'm all set up for sunset, and it's just going down over the horizon. You might be able to see it over there. It's beautiful to just enjoy. I'm not sure we're going to get a sky full of colour, but in a way I'm not that bothered, because I've experienced these places, and I've experienced them raw, and I've experienced them without the epicness. So there's always a reason to come back to these places, because I've not got that killer shot from all of them. I'm not saying there's not going to be a sunset, because there is a sunset. I just don't know whether it's going to kick off and light up the sky. So if it does, I'll get a shot of it. If it doesn't, I'm just going to enjoy the peace, the colours as the sun goes down, drops behind the horizon. And yeah, just being somewhere that I've not been before. There's so much to take in. You could spend a whole day here. But hopefully I've got some images to take home. Take nothing but photographs and leave nothing but footprints. I think that's a beautiful sum up of Anglesey so far. Just enjoy it and be at one with it and just experience it. The experience over the photographs, definitely. I'd like to thank David Griffiths for sorting out this afternoon. It's been a couple of cracking locations to hone your skill, and they've been completely different. Even though they've been covered in rock, one of them was rainbows, one of them was colours everywhere, and this place is a church in the middle of the sea. Two completely different places, but two completely similar crazy experiences. So thank you for David for sorting that out, and for Tim for being here, the three amigos on the journey today. So it's been great. Please check out Tim and David, I'll link them at the end. Hopefully I'll have an image to put up, and as always, please join me again on the next one. Thank you for joining me today. There's more great content to come. Tomorrow is the last day in Wales, so I should hopefully have one more vlog from this little road trip. So hopefully you can join me again on another one. And until then, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.